Welcome on in here to First Pitch. Two games on the MLB slate tonight and two big ones in the championship series. And we're going to be letting you know how you should be betting both of them. One just a few short hours away here if you're joining us live on the WagerTalk YouTube channel. And make sure you hit that like button and hit subscribe so you're ready the second that we go live, getting you that actionable info you know and love. I got a gruesome twosome with me today. I got Steve Merrill and Eric Pauly breaking down the card with me. And boys, I'm excited about it. Let's get right into this Phillies and Arizona Diamondbacks game. These crazy Philadelphia fans are apparently buying tickets that are like $10 for this game tonight, just so other fans won't be there. I don't know who they're really proving wrong or who they're really shoving it to in that aspect, but hey, the Philly fans are going to do what they do. But let's talk about what's going to happen on the diamond. This total painted 9. And we got the Phillies as the road favorite here. Suarez on the mound for them. I'm going to start with you, EP. How are you looking to bet this one? Anything that you'll be pulling the old wallet out to place on, or is this just one that you're more excited to watch than anything?
Well, first things first, newbie. I know you have at least 10 of those tickets, so if you want to give them back to the Diamondbacks fans, that'd be nice. This is a matchup where, like you said, the total is sitting 9, but it is a 9-120 at most chops, so it's
Mhm.
just juiced to the over, expecting an offensive outburst. But based on how this series has gone, it's more of seems like a question of if the Phillies are going to put up a 10 spot themselves, cover this
Yeah.
number on the total, or if the Diamondbacks are actually going to participate in this game. Just from a matchup standpoint, like I really think that this, for starters, that the Philadelphia Phillies have already taken all the wind out of this Arizona Diamondbacks team sails. This is the Diamondbacks team that I'm not going to say shouldn't be here because they're the best defensive team in baseball that have some good young players. They have a solid roster. They had, a top heavy, but two good starting pitchers. So it's not like this is a bad team that's in the ALCS or the NLCS, but they're certainly an overmatched team. I know Brandon Pfaadt, the rookie pitcher going for Arizona tonight, he pitched well in his two playoff performances, enough to, they're just saying that shelled basically, and he did a good enough job to avoid that. But going against this red hot Phillies lineup right now, while I am a fan of Pfaadt's future as a young pitcher in the major leagues, I don't think that he is the kind of guy to get right against this Phillies team that is absolutely scorching on fire. Ranger Suarez, on the other hand, good metrics against this Diamondbacks lineup, 86 plate appearances this current roster has against him, and average a little high with 270, but that weighted on base, expected weighted on base is 333, so it's not like he really gets shelved by them. A situation really where I don't have a take on the game. I certainly lean toward the Phillies taking care of business because this Diamondbacks team seems to be dead in the water, and it will take a lot from them to, kind of build it back up in front of this home crowd that, like you said, knew he doesn't even want to be there. So I think there's just no momentum going with the Diamondbacks. A strong lean towards the Philadelphia Phillies just to take care of business again here. And nothing that I bet quite yet, even though the price is definitely attractive on the Phillies right now. You have to pay a premium with Nola or Wheeler on the mound here. Something I haven't really
Yeah.
dove into because, as you know, we were talking about a lot of football for this matchup, but certainly a heavy lean toward the Phillies. Not getting cute here, just a better baseball team, better pitcher, better situation, more momentum. Lean toward the Phillies.
Yeah, and it makes a lot of sense. And as he mentioned too, Steve, it's almost the math equation of who is finally going to stop this team from going yard. 15 times the Phillies have gone deep in the past 4 playoff games. So the explosion has been real, but you have to feel like they have to come down to earth. Does it finally come now that they're traveling across the country, going out to play in the desert, or are these bats just screaming right now?
Yeah, by the way, if we look at the adjusted future prices now, Phillies are even money, Dan, to win the World Series. Texas was right with them yesterday, but now that that's a 2-1 series, they're like 2-1. Houston's 3-1. D-backs are now like 16-1. So you got almost a 50-50 chance, according to the odds makers, you're going to get a title this year. And obviously, it's looking very good that you win this series. Bryce Harper, now 5-1 favorite to be the World Series MVP. Corey Seager's at 7-1. Alvarez is at 10-1. And that's just obviously based on the fact that the Phillies and Rangers have a more likely path to the finals at this point. But yeah, I think the travel could cool things off here, and that's kind of what kept me off this game tonight,
Mhm.
or this later this evening, early afternoon, late afternoon, early evening, depending where you are. But if this was an NBA series, we'd be all over Arizona. One of the best angles in the NBA
True.
playoffs is teams down 0-2, back home 3 as a slight favorite. but you and Eric both did a great job pointing out that there does not seem to be much momentum when people are picking up $10 tickets and the Phillies are filling the stadium. You would think Arizona would be psyched for the first NLCS in decades. But the fact they're coming back down to 0-2 and they had absolutely no offense whatsoever in those games is not a good sign. And momentum seems to work better in baseball. In basketball, the zigzag still works at times because coaches make adjustments. They make schematic adjustments in a 7-game series defensively or offensively in basketball, or they focus on a key player to shut down after he goes off. He normally, they usually keep him in check. Somebody else has to step up and hit the shots. Baseball is not like that. You're pitching to the same hitters, but you've got a different starter out there every game. You've got different bullpen guys for the most part. And it does seem like if you just kind of blindly play the team that wins the previous game, you've made a lot of money in the playoffs in recent years. And we know that worked well in the wild card round. None of those, they were all sweeps. And we've seen it work pretty well in the divisional series. And up until yesterday with the Astros finally winning, it's worked pretty well in this championship series. And I had a strong best bet on Phillies in game 2 the other night for that reason. I am a little concerned that the travel could cool them off and maybe to disrupt the offensive momentum. But this is a team that's had at least 10 hits or more in 3 of their last 4. They've had 9 hits or more now in 5 straight playoff games. D-backs had 4 hits in each of those losses at Philly. So, yeah, basically, if you're trusting Arizona here, you're hoping that they get a spark at home. And I just don't see any indication that's going to happen. So Phillies and over would be the only way I continue to play this series till I see otherwise.
Yeah, and it's so hard to disagree with what our eyes have been seeing. But as you guys know, it seems like when everybody is marching to one beat of the drum, look like we have 72% of the tickets on the Phils here tonight. It just seems like it's too easy. And when it gets a little too easy, that's what makes me a little bit worried. And that's why I'm kind of with you guys. It's a stay away for me. Of course, I'm going to be locked to my set watching this one. But even at not that much plus money for the Diamondbacks, I just don't see where I find a play in this one. So hop below in the comments and let us know how you're looking to bet this one. Do you have something that you're playing? Are you biting the bullet and going with the D-backs, or do the Phils get it done? We want to hear from you in the chat below. While you're down there, make sure you hit that like button. All right, guys, we got a 2-pack here today. We got Houston and the Texas Rangers. And I'll be honest with you guys. I think this series is far from over. If you take a look at both series as they were sitting 2-0, it was a question that I posed yesterday on the show is which one seems like it's more of a foregone conclusion? And we kind of all agreed Houston was waiting in the wings for their spot. They finally get the bounce back. They tagged Scherzer early, something that we thought was going to happen if you listened to yesterday's show. So I'm wondering, I'll go back to you, EP. What are you thinking in this one? Because I'll be honest with you, if Houston wins this game, I wouldn't be shocked if you get the reverse sweep and see Houston winning four straight here in this series. So I'm just thinking, I want to hear your thoughts as far as this game goes. But as this series, it got a lot more interesting after last night's game, in my opinion.
Yeah, it did. So last night I backed in the Gold team. We backed the Rangers, just small 2% play. I thought that they could take care of business there. But having faith in Max Scherzer coming off obviously his injuries and then kind of him asserting himself back in this lineup, in this rotation. I know that they traded for him for these big time situations, but probably not the best way to have thought about that game. But just moving forward in the series, I do think the Houston Astros are a great bet tonight. It would be, if I had to say, a best bet for this evening. All things considered, pitcher props, total base props, anything. I think the Astros winning outright is great here. A situation I love to back the Astros in is when they're facing a left-handed pitcher who has worse splits against left-handed batters, because Yordan Alvarez and Kyle Tucker, though Kyle Tucker hasn't been great this postseason whatsoever, are 2 hitters that are lefties that are better against left-handed pitching against righties. And having that advantage where you're supposed to have those splits where, you're a lefty, you're better at getting out other lefties and so on. Having that advantage in your lineup where you have the righties who are already going to jump on a left-handed pitcher, and then having 2 of the best hitters in baseball being able to jump on left-handed pitching as well is just really so crucial. On the other hand, you have Urquidy going. He's just going to throw a ton of strikes. That's his MO. The Rangers are going to swing. They're going to make contact. I think this game certainly is an over-style matchup. But as we saw last night, we saw 2 important things last night. The first thing is that obviously they're both in Texas. We saw a ton of Astro fans, which makes a ton of sense. And there was really no home field advantage at all, besides the fact that it was technically the Rangers' home field and they played and they batted second, the bottom half of the inning. But The Astros absolutely love mashing in Globe Life Park, so there's no concern there. You saw Altuve almost hit 3 home
Yep.
runs again, 2 balls right at the wall. And the final thing is the concern for the Astros, or excuse me, the concern for the Rangers was their bullpen. The bullpen finally had some issues yesterday. Even after Scherzer got hit, there were still just runs coming aplenty. The Houston Astros have a stronger bullpen. I can't really say they have a stronger starter. It's not like Urquidy is great, but at least he'll be around the zone and not giving free passes up. I will say, in more or less a pick'em style game, looking at the odds, I'm seeing a lot of pick'em style, basically minus 115s, minus 105s. I'm definitely leaning toward, not leaning, a best bet will be the Houston Astros tonight.
Yeah, and I'm glad that you mentioned too just how this team has played at Globe Life Field, because 59 runs in their last 5 road games against the Texas Rangers. So the rivalry, I feel like, obviously can't extrapolate it and make it a full part of your handicap, but it does have something to do with it. And also this Astros team, you always talk about home sweet home. It's been road sweet road for them. 17 wins in their last 20 road games. Steve, what do we think that road beauty continuing here tonight? Because it definitely looked like that win that they needed badly. It came. I know it became a little bit tighter towards the end, but it came relatively with little to no sweat. So you think those road opposite of woes continue for this Astros team? How are you looking at it?
Well, I think first of all, I mean, last night was definitely the Scherzer factor. I mean, the guy gave up 5 earned
Good point.
runs, only 5 hits, but he gave up 5 earned runs in 4 innings pitched. He had 21 balls, 42 straight. So he had 1/3 of his pitches were balls last night. I mean, that's not common for a Hall of Famer. So we have to be careful not to just say, hey, the Astros are back. But with that said, and as Eric pointed out, they got to the bullpen also. I think that's why you do have the buy sign maybe with Houston. Stratton, by the way, 9 balls on 19 pitches as a second reliever. And I mean, these guys struggled last night. Will Smith threw more balls than strikes. 7 out of his 12 pitches were balls. So 5 relievers were used after Scherzer last night. I think that's the bigger takeaway for me, is that this bullpen is going to be depleted tonight. They weren't good to start with, rested last night. Don't see them getting much better this evening. So that obviously favors Houston. It would favor a Houston team total over as well. And I think that's not a bad way to play this game. Team totals on all these games, by the way, are 4.5s, juice different directions. But yeah, I could see the Astros getting to 5 runs or more. Keep in mind, they got shut out in game 1. They'd had the layoff for 3 days. Only had 5 hits. Only 6 hits in game 2. I wasn't impressed with the 4-run output, but then 8 runs on 12 hits last night, left 7 guys on base, depleted Texas bullpen. Definitely don't disagree with the Astros, and I think an Astros team total over 4.5 makes some sense as well.
Yeah, a heck of a lot of sense. A lot good info in there from these guys. And since we went short, I'm going to put you guys on the spot. Obviously, only 4 teams to choose from. We've got some nice leads thus far. So, EP, for you, what's the World Series matchup? Because I'm not going to get to chat with you before it may be decided already. So is it as simple as, hey, take the teams with the leads, or you think Houston's barking a little bit? Or could we have a shocker coming down in Arizona? That would be the true shocker, but what's the World Series matchup for you, EP?
Phillies certainly winning the NLCS, and I was think certainly with a grain of salt, anything can happen, but I'm taking the Phillies there. And I'm currently holding a 9-1 Rangers World Series winner ticket, so have to be rooting for the Rangers. Sorry to our producer Robert, I'm rooting for the Rangers here.
Rangers, Phils for my man EP. Hop below in the comments and let us know what you think. Steve, what about you? Phils, Rangers, or Houston barking here, man?
Yeah, in honor of the great Rob Vina, who's not with us today on the show. He's still with us. Don't fear, but he's not with us on the show. I got to do some math.
Dropping news, Steve.
Yeah, no breaking news here, guys. I didn't phrase that well, but I'll give you some math. Was my point, and the Phillies right now have about an 88.5% chance of winning the series based on the series odds. I mean, you got a huge split. It's like 900 to 600. So about an 88, 89% chance your Philadelphia Phillies make the World Series, Dan. So that's pretty much done. Rangers right now, by the way, are a 2-1 favorite with a 2-1 lead. So that gives them about a 66% chance based on the series price. So if you do the math there, the odds of both the Rangers and the Phillies advance is 58%, 58.5%. So that's the likely outcome still. But obviously things could change fast. If the Astros tie it up tonight, then they'll probably be a slight series favorite. So the Phillies are in, but that other one's really going to come down to most likely who wins tonight. Obviously the Rangers win tonight up 3-1. It's pretty much over. Would not disagree with you guys. Astros get the win tonight. I'd say they're going to be the series favorite. So pivotal game 4. This probably decides who's the most likely team to make it out of the AL.
See, now all the listeners know I really just asked that question to hear two of my favorite cappers say, hey, by the way,
Yeah.
your Phillies are in the World Series. That was really just what I was looking for, boys.
Well, they
But,
got there last year too, Dan. So don't celebrate yet.
So that's a good point. We had some folks in the chat also mentioning how much of this Phillies dominance that we've seen has to do with that World Series loss last year. Because the way they're crushing the ball, man, and sometimes the way that they swing out of their shoes, I mean, they're swinging pissed off. You know what I mean? Like how they still play with an edge after everything we've seen. It's why even fans who aren't fans of the Phillies, it's a pretty easy baseball team to root for. It's a fun group of guys. So fingers crossed, we have a lot of heartbreak in Philadelphia. You know, it was all the teams that would make it to the championship game and then lose. Let's hope that changes here a little bit. But that's Steve Merrill and Eric Pauly. You can check out Eric Pauly with the gold sheet and check out Steve Merrill over at WagerTalk.com. We got a great special going right now that you can get 30 days all access for a low price. You can check that out at the WagerTalk deals page. Steve, one of the best as he caps across baseball. We got basketball coming up, college football, and NFL. You can grab all of that 30-day all access. Check that out at the WagerTalk deals page. And make sure you check out the gold sheet week 7 out for the NFL, week 8 for college football. Get all the tools you need to bet college football and NFL this weekend by grabbing the gold sheet. Gentlemen, always a pleasure. A nice short show here for the folks to get you ready for that Phil's game that first pitches at a little after 5 o'clock there on the East Coast. So get to your TVs, enjoy the double header. And thank God we got some baseball so we don't have to watch another NFC South team play football tonight. Hopefully, next time we talk to you, we got some extra money in our pocket. I've been Dan Alexander. Big thanks to the guests, Steve Merrill and EP. Make sure you hit that like button, hit subscribe, and we'll be back wrapping things up Friday here on First Pitch. Until then, best of luck.